The point I'm trying to make is right now. It's the only point that there is to make. Everything is happening right now. There is no other time that it happens. It's the only time where anything can be experienced is right now. Unless you're experiencing it via the mind, but you can only do that right now. It all depends on where you're placing your attention. So, if you see here in this picture I've drawn, this point right here in the middle is going to be the now, okay? It's in itself ungraspable. Try and hold on to it. You can't just sit there and hold on to right now, because right now is becoming. It's becoming right here before you. It's always beginning. It's always emerging. And this is all that we've ever experienced. This is where existence happens. And what comes off of right now is time. Time and space all spread out from this singular point right here, right now. So it's like blossoming out of right here, right now. Right now is so hard for us to see because we're too busy thinking about it. And when we're going into our thoughts, what we're doing is we're transferring into this great expanse of the mind that is this great stitching, this great weaving that we're doing as we intricately and uniquely delve and weave the stories of who we are, our identities, how we've been shaped throughout time, the foundations or in the beliefs that we have, and those give rise to all the thoughts that we have. And those thoughts that you're having are essentially the self-regenerative process that a belief has. Part of that is asking questions, feeling emotions, and seeing where it fits inside this great narrative that each one of us has going on, personally, individually. It is our person. It is our identity. And it's what the mind is busy doing. So your attention is like this point. Okay, attention is where consciousness focuses awareness into a point. That's where all of your awareness is focused to a point. And you can see that you're aware of things outside that point, but it also has, depending on what you're focusing on, you have to cut other things out. So in a sense, what meditation is where you take this point of attention that's bouncing around the universe, bouncing around your mind, bouncing from different times to different places and different spaces into this great world, this great expanse of separation and division. When you take that attention and you return it back to right here, right now, then your now becomes the only now, and you begin to expand what you can be aware of, what your attention can be aware of, and you kind of untangle this web of all these thoughts and all these ideas, and you start seeing how all of those different threads are supposed to be woven together, or how they more appropriately weave together, because you can see it from a greater vantage point, so you can see where those tangles are. What I'm saying is that we all have this built-in tool at our disposal. There is a function, a feature, if you will, a method that your consciousness is built in with. And it's the ability to harness attention. If you can learn to harness your attention, you can become aware and learn and experience anything that you want to experience. The test is how well you can hold your attention to it. and how well you can be excited about it, how well you can get into it. And if it's something that you generally enjoy or you generally prefer, you're going to go towards that. So a lot of what that is all being woven together by the attention is, within the realm of your beliefs, your thoughts, the symbols, your narrative, your identity, who you think you are, your model of the universe, and then all of the emotions that you feel about all of these things. And the questions that you ask are all what each and every one of us is actively experiencing pretty much all the time. And that's why it's hard to see that right now is actually all there is. I'm saying it comes to such an extreme point that you can't see it. It's like it's right there in front of you, and you can't see it because it's so close to you. And you're looking at your mind, so it's like most people are looking beyond what's right in front of them. They're looking beyond into this realm of their mind. They're not looking at what's right there before them and recognizing that that's what it is. That's all there is. It's all right there. And I'm saying, I'm talking about the actual Genesis point, the source of creation, the source of the universe, the source of all experience. All right now, everyone's right nows are simultaneous. Everything is right now. That's all we can experience. I dare you to challenge that. I dare you to tell me that we can experience something else. And I'll show you, no, what you're experiencing is your mind. You're projecting into something on the outskirts of right now and seeing it as something that isn't right here, right now. But the thing is you are having that experience right now too. That's all, everything is encompassing to this point. And I've said it time and time again, I'm making a point here, and it's the same point. And a lot of my videos are going to sound the exact same, and I know that. I'm taking that risk in that sense. But I know what I'm talking about, and I know that this is the point that I'm trying to make. I mean, if you get deep into the practice of meditation and you explore that realm, one thing you're going to hear is you cannot possibly encapsulate consciousness into a word or into an idea or into a singular concept. It can't be. And I'm saying that's correct. That's absolutely true. Only you can really experience this personally when you are able to hold your attention still. To hold your attention on what's going on right now and just become aware of this magnificent unfolding of experience and sensation, thoughts, ideas, feelings, emotions, all of the nuance and novelty and original, fresh happening that's happening at every given moment is right now, is actually just one thing. It's the same for you, it's the same for me, and it's the same for everything, and it's the same for all of time. It's just, we think time is this real thing because we have all these memories, because we've seen a life, because we see all of these other people and all of their stories and everything that we have. But what I'm saying is, for you as an experiencer, all of that, what I just said, exists in your mind as part of the experience. And what I'm saying is that whole thing is being generated right now. It's all coming from right here, right now. And what I'm saying is that this is the point in the universe where everything comes together and becomes one. This is the harmonic frequency. Another reason why it's difficult for people to take this in is because you have to be in love to understand what that is, because it is pure love. It's the only thing of all the other things that exist. Love is the only thing that can take on what this is, which is everything. It is the unconditional, unrestricted, infinite capacity, meaning that there is no capacity. It is infinite space, infinite availability, accommodation, allowing is at the center of everything. That is love, and it's bliss, and it's joy, and it's where everything comes together and makes sense. It's how everything lines up and is correct. And this is how the entire universe is constructed, on this singular point. And the only way that consciousness experiences it is by right now, is via right now. This is all that's ever been experienced and all that's ever will be experienced. It's the only thing that's happening. The thing is it's right before you. And you can come to this video and I can tell you what's going on right here, right now. But the thing of it is, now's ever changing. Now's ever blossoming. It is the great, ungraspable, unfathomable. You can't put a word to it. You can't put anything to it. So why not put everything into it? All of it is that. Okay? Now there is something that is beyond this. What is beyond this? What's on the other side of right now? That's obviously a question. If everything is right now, then nothing else matters. Everything else is nothing. Nothing is everything else. This is all there is. It's literally everything, but also nothing. So nothing becomes what exists. The further and further out you go away from unity. This is where everything is one, then it divides and spreads out into separation. So this is the origin point, and then it spreads out into ends. This is the point of unity, and it spreads out into chaos. And it becomes this great multiplicitude of every possible experience that you can imagine throughout the entire spectrum of what you can imagine of creation. So what we're ultimately experiencing throughout most of the day is right now. It's always right now, but the mind is over it, is overlaid over the top of what's going on right now. So most people can't see it. And as I said, there's teachers that'll tell you, and they ain't lying, that the only way that you can truly experience this is by setting the mind down and not putting a word to it, not trying to wrangle it into a thought, not trying to do what I'm doing right here, is to actually draw a picture and make a video about it. But this is all I do. This is where my mind goes, and this is where my thoughts direct me, all to the same singular point. And I'm trying to draw all these different pictures, not only visually like this, but with the palette of my language, in just such a way to point your attention back to the source. See, this is attention coming back to the source of consciousness. It's like you're turning a flashlight back upon itself to where the source of the light is coming from. That's the whole idea behind meditation. So by focusing your now, your attention onto this singular point of existence, right here, right now, right here, right before you. It's not that you're completely stopping your thoughts. It's like you're looking in between your thoughts. That your attention is no longer interested in the thoughts that you're having, and it's looking for something behind the thoughts or in between the thoughts. And what I'm saying is that's actually this great expanse of awareness, of this aware observer that's experiencing everything. And one of the first things that you become readily aware of is that you're just awareness, and that your mind is always caught up in saying, oh, this is what it is, this is what's going on, this is who I think I am, this is what I got to do tomorrow, this is that, this is these, this is what you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do these things. All this stuff is constantly taking the spotlight. And that spotlight, again, is your attention. It's where you're directing this thing. That's the conduit of your power, your energy, is where you're placing your attention. And where that energy flows, grows. It's growing that thing. It's bringing your now. It's bringing your now into what it is that you're doing. And that makes it into something. Okay? Just because I'm saying all that exists is right now, I'm not invalidating your memories or the story of who you are or anybody for that matter. All of it is valid. If it can be experienced, it is valid in the universe because there is an experiencer of it. That's not good or bad. It's completely neutral in that sense. It just is what it is. If it's to be experienced, then it is valid. Okay, that's all. It's just valid. And that in itself can only be recognized by a completely unattached observer. And again, I will keep making the same point. And I will draw a lot of pictures, and a lot of them are going to look exactly the same. I know they do, as I'm the one that's making them. And I know what I'm saying is the same thing every time, and it's the same point, that literally I'm redirecting all of your attention and all of my words and my attention back in on this point. And I do it all the time, and I love to. The thing is I want to bring it to you. I want to show you what I see when I just sit and meditate and set my mind down, set my thoughts down for a while, and just zone into right now. Tune in, as they say. And what you're doing when you're meditating, regardless of what you're doing, whether you're listening to guided meditation, you're just listening to the breeze, you're listening to your breath, you're watching a sunset, whatever it is, everybody has a different way of getting into the now. But what I'm saying is when you're doing that, you're getting closer and closer to the genesis point where everything is at its best, where it feels best. And it's because it literally is the source of everything. And it's actually beckoning you to experience it. But what happens when you begin to harmonize your identity and who you think you are, it brings up beliefs and thoughts and symbols and the narrative of your life that having to do with your identity, and it brings up the kind of emotions that make you feel uncomfortable because the harmony of this point, this placeholder of the universe, is in contradiction to beliefs that we have. It's in contradiction to our thoughts. We have thoughts that don't get along. We have interpersonal arguments going on all the time, not just with ourselves, but with other people and other people's own identity consciousness. That their identities are clashing with your identities and my identities, and all of our identities have this little battle inside of consciousness, inside of the mind. So when the attention affixes to right here, right now, it naturally goes through this process of balancing everything out, harmonizing, and bringing everything back to center. And it immediately hits all the tangles and contradictions and conflict in the belief and thought system, and it's very, very uncomfortable, and it creates anxiety. So the attention leaves right now. It goes away from trying to do that, and gets stuck back in this thought. And the thoughts have more of a magnetism, more of a pull on the attention than right now does. Okay? But what I'm saying is you can face up to all of it if you really do hold your attention right here. You will come up against things. You will come up against, the trials of the heart, the paths in your story where you have to take a turn, or you have to make a choice, or you have to break open a shell, or shed some skin, or whatever. There will come a point as you uncover this where it feels like chaos, where it feels like disorder as you're facing up to it and it doesn't feel right. But what's going on is still right now. That's still the same thing that's going on right now. It's just what you're dealing with is part of the mind that doesn't work with that doesn't agree with that doesn't feel good about that. Because here's what's going on with right now. And as I'm calling it the source of creation, the source of your consciousness and mine, where it's all coming from. We all hold a piece of this, and we lay claim to it by defining it, by our beliefs, by the words that we use, by the way that we tell it like it is. At any given time, as you speak or as you think, what you're thinking about is right now. That's what you're trying to understand. That's what you're trying to talk about. That's what you're trying to express, is what is going on right now in your mind. What's going on? What happened? What are all these things that have put me together? All that's going on right now, and you're expressing the way that makes you feel. The thoughts that come to mind when that arises. All of those emotions are triggering the response of deep-seated beliefs about who you think you are and what you think the world is. And that's what everybody's doing actively all the time. When they're not meditating, when they're not focusing and setting all of that stuff down, setting all of the chatter down, all the dialogue, the incessant considering and pondering and mentioning and dialogue that we go through. That's the condition, right? That's the human condition, is the incessant narration of the mind, creation of the mind. But that's what's always happening. As now is happening, suddenly now you have this thing called existence. You have this thing called a life. You have all of these things that are happening to you. And this is ever moving. It's ever coursing. And that's why it's so, again, hard to hold on to, because this is actually all that's ever happening. And in itself, it can't be predicted. It can't be contained. There's no way that you can say exactly what it is, not as a human. A lot of humans put this on this pedestal into a shape and an idol and a symbol and worship it. But what they're doing is just taking right now and putting it on that thing. And it's creating in a sense, an idol. In a sense, a symbol, a thought, a definition, a belief. And a lot of other people are doing that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm saying every experience is valid. What anyone could be doing is completely valid in and of themselves, in and of the experience. And the experiencer will invariably experience the unfolding of their decisions and the choices that they made in all of the beliefs that they had set forth, and all the thoughts that they have, and all the words that they spoke, and their impact on others. Everybody will experience that at some point right here, right now, as an experiencer. But that's all their lives. That's not you. What I'm saying is all you're experiencing is your life, and that is you via right now. That's in a sense the universe or your higher self or it's the one great thing. What I'm saying is all the same thing. Everything is the same thing. And it's all right now. It's the heart of the universe. It's also your heart. And it's the source of where you come from. And it's the source of where I come from. And it's where everything happens. It just happens to look this way right now. It just happens to be broadcast to you at this time in this way. It's manifesting as whatever your now is, okay? And again, your now is where your attention is. That's what the universe is. That's what everything is what you're paying attention to, I'm serious. Where your mind is going. And that's all you're ever experiencing and all you're ever going to experience and all anyone else ever experiences. I know I'm repeating myself a lot, and I know I'm getting really excited about this, and I know that but this is what I gotta say. I'm just trying to tell you this one singular thing, that everything is right here, right now. Everything, and it's literally a point. It is the point of the universe. And I can show you how literally everything converges on this origin point. Literally all possible experience, all mathematics, all science, all known religions, all belief systems, all experience, being a human, all of consciousness, universe, all of it literally comes together on this singular point, and it just happens to be right in front of you. It's just such a fine point to the point of being just a particle, that particle literally makes up everything, and it's part of everything. That singular particle. But in order to exist, it needs someone to experience it. And that's what you are. And that's what I am. And that's what we are as consciousness. We are a consciousness observing ourself as right now. It's just very hard to gobble that up. I know it is. It's hard to see everything else as all being part of the same thing. But the thing is once all of everything else isn't experienced, it's because your attention has changed positions. And what I'm saying is all that you're experiencing is where your attention is. But your attention is what's creating the experience. It's what's facilitating the experience. And to really get intimate with it and to really know what I'm saying is to actually do it yourself. There's just no substitute. There's no amount of classes you could take or books you could read or thinking about it that's going to show it to you as though you're looking right at it yourself. And I'm talking about right now. But again, you can tell that you're not thinking about right now, that you're not attending to right now if you're trying to think about what it is and where it is, and because then your attention is on a thought or a scenario or an idea or it's in a completely different realm that's outside of where everything is boom really happening right there right now, right here right now. Again, the attention is where consciousness focuses awareness into a point. So you can see consciousness as kind of having these two forms of attention. One is the focused point where your attention is actually going, where your eyes are going, where your inner senses are directed. You could call it your inner sense, your intuition, your thoughts, your feelings, like all of that. What that is moving your attention around. But what you're really doing throughout life is just moving that attention around. And that's really what you are, is where you're placing that attention. Again, in order to really experience, the point that I'm always going to be making is this, but to really start grasping this point is you got to see yourself as way more than what you might think you are, as just being like a human or, the story of your life and all that. What I'm saying is all of that exists within your mind. All of that exists within your experience. That you're actually much more than that. That you are this consciousness, and your attention is where your focus, where all that's coming together. But your awareness is like the diffusion or the expansion of your attention into space, into spaciousness. So you can there's one you can call mindfulness, and that's where you're just becoming aware of everything at once. And then there's the single pointed awareness or focus meditation, where you're holding on to one thing at a time, but both practices have the same result. Okay? because this is everything, but it also comes to this fine point where if you look at that point, now you see everything lit up in the room like a disco ball. Like it's both, all forms of meditation lead to the same thing. And there's a lot of different forms of harnessing attention that have given rise to, well, everything that we experience in humanity. It's how we've directed our imagination. It's how we've constructed these great things. It's all through the act of harnessing your attention. So that's again where I'm trying to show you this, and I'm trying to point you back into your attention, because I know that that's where the source of all human innovation comes from. That's where consciousness is coming from. That's where the creator is creating. Okay? And they're doing it through all of your different separate individuated lives. Okay? But at this point, right here, right now, nothing is separate. All of that separation goes away. And there is just only one. And it's no longer what you would call yourself. Those words have gone away at that point. You just recognize that all is everything. All is everything is the same thing as this one singular thing. And that's what, you know, the monk experiences that spends his whole life meditating. Or you know, there's magicians that perform rituals to experience this. There's Christians that pray and read the same verses every day, and they ask for it and ask for it, ask for it, and they get a glimpse of it. The Buddhists, they see it. They visit Buddha, and everybody is experiencing the same thing, is right now manifesting into what it is that they're ultimately seeking for, and that will happen for everybody. Typically, how well you're doing is how good you feel about right now. That's what I'm saying, is that the same goes for everybody, even if you are in pain, even if you are suffering, if you are in mental anguish or have split personalities. It's all still happening right now. It's just you're so caught up in the webs of mind and the way that all that divides everything up and chops everything apart and puts everything onto scales and everything. It's so much work. It's literally an infinite amount of work that our mind tools over as we chip away at this sculpture of identity of what we think this whole world is about and how we're going to express it to others. What I'm saying is if you do things like meditate, you are actively strengthening the muscle of literally just setting the incessant thinking down for a moment and opening up your eyes, your awareness, like seeing much more clearly and increasing your focus. Both increasing your focus and expanding the clarity of your awareness. Every time that you bring your attention back to right now, back to the point where it's all happening, where it's all going on. I could go on. And I will. Thanks for watching. I hope I didn't bore you.